It was the night of Halloween 2021, and we were all ready to let off some steam after what felt like an endless year. My friend Nate was throwing a party at his parents' house in the woods, far from the city. We'd all been looking forward to it, just the kind of escape we needed. Nate had a huge place, an old farmhouse with a large attic that had been converted into a game room, which we thought was perfect for our celebration. I arrived early to help set things up, as usual, securing my spot on the couch so I wouldn't have to worry about getting home later. His parents were out for the weekend, and I could already feel the freedom. Most of our close friends showed up, along with a few people Nate knew from college, some of whom I didn't really recognize. The party kicked off with music and drinks flowing, everyone laughing and having a good time. As midnight approached, the mood shifted slightly, as if everyone could feel the tension in the air. The whole night had been oddly quiet, the kind of silence you notice when you're away from the usual noise of the city. At the stroke of midnight, we all yelled, "Happy Halloween!" and clinked our drinks together. But even that felt strange, like the excitement was muted by something we couldn't quite place. As the night wore on, more people filtered out, and eventually it was just a handful of us left, lounging in the living room. The music had died down, and we were just sipping on our drinks, talking in low voices. Then we began to hear it, a faint sound, at first so subtle that we thought it was just the wind rustling through the trees outside. But it didn't go away. It grew louder, a tapping sound like fingers drumming against wood. At first, no one said anything, assuming it was just some old house creaking or a strange noise from the floorboards. But the tapping kept going, and it began to shift, as if it were moving through the walls. Nate and I exchanged glances. Neither of us had heard anything like it before, not in that house. The others were mostly too drunk to notice, but Nate and I couldn't ignore it. We decided to check it out, walking through the dimly lit hallway toward the attic stairs. The moment we reached the bottom of the staircase, the sound stopped, and the house fell eerily silent. We stood there, staring up into the darkness, unsure of what to do next. Nate, always the bold one, reached for the attic door and called out, "Anyone up there?" His voice echoed through the empty house, but there was no response. The silence stretched on for what felt like forever. Then, without saying a word, we slowly began to ascend the stairs. The attic was dusty and filled with old furniture, boxes, and various forgotten relics from Nate's family's past. It had a musty smell, like the kind of place you only visit once a year. We started poking around, looking for something, anything that could explain the sound. But there was nothing out of the ordinary, just the usual old stuff that had been sitting there for years. That's when I saw it. A large wooden rocking chair tucked into the corner by a window. The kind of chair you wouldn't expect to see in an attic, but there it was. I walked up to it, feeling a weird chill in the air. I reached out, pushing the chair gently. It rocked slightly, creaking with the same rhythmic tapping we had been hearing downstairs. I stopped. My blood ran cold. Nate was standing just behind me, eyes wide as we both realized the same thing. The tapping, the creaking, everything. It was coming from this chair. But how? There was no breeze, no reason for it to move, and the longer we stared at it, the more the air seemed to thicken, pressing in on us from all sides. Nate snapped, "This is messed up," and turned to leave, but I couldn't move. Something held me there, frozen, as the chair creaked again. This time, the sound wasn't coming from the wood. It was a whisper, almost imperceptible, but clear enough to make my skin crawl. It sounded like a voice, low and raspy, and it said, "Get out." I don't know how long we stood there, but the next thing I remember, we were rushing down the stairs, nearly tripping over ourselves. The moment we slammed the attic door shut, the house seemed to exhale, as if it had been holding its breath. We never went back up there again that night. Nate kept the attic locked for days, and the sound of the rocking chair never came back. I still don't know what happened that night. To this day, I can't explain it. But every time Halloween rolls around, I can't help but think about that chair, the sound and the whisper that followed us out.